Hello everyone, good evening. This is the big breaking news that is coming in at the top of 7. The EPS-OPS merger now could happen anytime. That's what sources are telling us. A formal announcement is likely at 7:30 p.m. with a press conference, Marya.
That's right. And sources are saying that these are sources close to Panneerselvam who are saying that he is likely to be the next Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, and Palaniswami will continue as the Chief Minister, and Panneerselvam will also be head of the running committee of the AIADMK. Remember, Shreya, what has been agreed upon as part of this formula, merger formula, is that Panneerselvam will be the General Secretary of AIADMK. And till then, he will be the someone who will be heading the 7-member committee. So Zaka Jacob is joining us live from Chennai. Zaka, it's only a matter of half an hour now when that formal announcement will be taking place. And what has been agreed upon clearly now is that Panneerselvam will be the Deputy Chief Minister, while Palaniswami can continue as the Chief Minister.
Yes, a hectic parley is on, not just here at Greenways Road, which of course has OPS's residence. A short distance from here is also Edapadi Palaniswami's residence. So hectic parley is happening both at the Chief Minister's residence as well as at the former Chief Minister's residence. I was just speaking to some OPS loyalists a few minutes back, and they seem reasonably confident that the merger is only a matter of time. In fact, one of them was confident that this will happen as early as later tonight. There's strong buzz here in Chennai that in the next 30 minutes to an hour, Mr. Panneerselvam, after this huddle with his MLAs as well as his other loyalists, will come out and formally announce and formally welcome the decisions taken by Edapadi Palaniswami and his camp yesterday, the 2 out of the 3 roadblocks that have been met. And more importantly, the strong buzz here is that possibly both OPS and Edapadi could go to the Amma Samadhi, which is at the Marina Beach, a short distance from here, and both of them could sit in front of that Samadhi and seek Jayalalitha's blessings and then formally announce this merger to the world. The Amma Samadhi, of course, has been a very, very iconic landmark here, particularly in the recent past. You remember that OPS had rebelled after meditating there. Even Shashikala, before she went to jail, had gone to the Amma Samadhi, taken a pledge that she'll come back stronger. So there's a strong buzz here that both of these leaders could possibly go to the Amma Samadhi once this merger is formalized.
So what happens to Dinakaran? He's on record to say, Zaka, that a merger between the OPS and the EPS factions will not be good for the AIADMK. 14th of August, huge show of strength, and then look at what happened earlier today. Does it mean the end of Sasikala's family's dominance in the AIADMK?
Well, if not the end, it certainly looks like the beginning of the end, because I was there at Woodlands Hotel as well a short while back, where just 3 MLAs turned up, 3 loyalist MLAs of TTV Dinakaran turned up. There were 19 he paraded just earlier this week in Melur in Madurai, as you rightly said. What will be interesting to note is on the 23rd, here in Chennai, in the northern outskirts of Chennai, he's again called for a show of strength rally. It'll be interesting to see how many MLAs turn up. I suspect that there'll be far fewer than the 19 that we saw in Madurai, because if you remember when TTV Dinakaran came back from jail, he's out on bail, remember, in this case of trying to bribe an election commission official ahead of the RK Nagar by-polls, he claimed the support of 37 MLAs. That number dramatically came down to 19 back in Melur in Madurai earlier this week. And today, like I said, there were just 3 loyalist MLAs at the Woodlands Hotel. So it'll be interesting to see how many current MLAs will be there in this rally on the 23rd to show their support with TTV Dinakaran. I think he's running out of both time as well as options.
You know, interestingly, Zaka, what we are told is that the formula that has been agreed upon is that Panneerselvam is likely to be the Deputy Chief Minister and also the head of this running committee of AIADMK. How did OPS agree to this post of Deputy CM? Is it because he realizes that most of the MLAs are still with EPS?
Well, of course, a large majority of the MLAs are with Edapadi. More than 100 are with Edapadi. So OPS clearly realized that he doesn't have the numbers. But in terms of what the exact modalities will he be made General Secretary, and will that be the sort of quid pro quo? Will he be okay working under an Edapadi? Clearly, I mean, a deputy chief minister would be lower in the hierarchy than the chief minister himself. How would Panneerselvam swallow that? Because all along, you know, Marya, he's been maintaining that he was the chosen one. No less than Jayalalithaa chose him, not once or twice, but 3 times. So will he swallow this bitter pill of working under someone like an Edapadi? So I think those modalities need to be worked out. What we'll see tonight is a kiss and make up session, if I can use that phrase.
Yes, I mean, you know, a split and then a merger in 7 months, that was what, a very short divorce. The matchmaker in this entire story has been the BJP, of course, Zaka. What are the stakes involved for the BJP? Why are they so keen on the merger between the EPS and the OPS camp? I mean, both of them running to the Prime Minister speaking to both of them. Vaccine parlays, as Marya has been reporting for a long time now, it's coming by way of the BJP. What are the stakes involved for them?
Well, I think there were a couple of realizations. One, of course, in the immediate aftermath of Jayalalitha's death and when OPS rebelled, it was clear that the BJP was throwing its weight behind Mr. Panneerselvam. But then I think somewhere down the line, they also got outwitted by Shashikala's strategy of installing someone like an Edapadi. And after Shashikala went to jail, consistently the BJP has been trying to woo Edapadi as well as his loyalists, his faction, so that they can then isolate the likes of Shashikala and TTV Dinakaran and portray them as the corrupt sort of branch of the AIADMK and eventually bring together these two warring factions, EPS and OPS. Remember, the BJP has a vested interest. The AIADMK has 10 members of parliament in the Rajya Sabha. The BJP could well do with those numbers. Here in the state too, the BJP could do very well with a stable state government. There's no love lost between the DMK and the BJP. So between the two Dravidian parties, I think the BJP's calculation is that they'd rather have the AIADMK in power than the DMK.
And interestingly, Zaka, whenever the Prime Minister has met OPS, he has ensured that he gives appointment also to EPS. So he has always seen and maintained that balance in his equations with both the sides, because he understands clearly that as far as EPS is concerned, he has the support of most of those MLAs, and Panneerselvam may be seen as someone who is the natural successor of Jayalalithaa, because every time she could not continue as the chief minister, she had chosen him. But you know, but interestingly again, that this merger is going to be happening today. What does it mean? I mean, are we to see that this AIADMK, a united AIADMK, could very well soon be part of the NDA? And this is also coming just few days before the BJP President Amit Shah heads for Tamil Nadu.
Absolutely. Amit Shah is going to be here on the 22nd, 23rd and 24th. He's going to be visiting Chennai, Coimbatore and Madurai, as I'm told. And certainly the hope here is that this merger can be wrapped up before Mr. Amit Shah lands in Tamil Nadu. You also cannot discount the fact that when Jayalalithaa was around, she shared a great relationship, a great camaraderie with the Prime Minister, who happened to be then Gujarat Chief Minister. They were special invitees in the swearing-in ceremonies of each other. In fact, Jayalalithaa was one of the first people to congratulate Prime Minister Modi after the 2014 election. So they shared a very special camaraderie, and I think part of the reason why the Prime Minister, for example, has met both EPS and OPS, yes, I think 6 times in the last 6 months, it stems from the fact that he had a close relationship with Jayalalithaa, and also for very, very practical and very pragmatic political reasons. And that is that in a big state like Tamil Nadu, where you have one block of 37 MPs in the Lok Sabha and 10 MPs in the Rajya Sabha, you'd rather have them on your side rather than go back to the people. Because I think if you were to have snap polls, I think it's evident to everybody that the main opposition party, the DMK, would be the natural beneficiary if there were to be snap polls. So it suits all parties. It suits the AIADMK, it suits the BJP to keep this arrangement going for as long as they can. They're hoping they can do this for the next 4 years.
All right, Jaka, we leave it there for the moment. Come back to you at 7:30 when a formal announcement is expected of the OPS-EPS merger. So just 2 questions then get left to be answered. First of all, what happens to Dinakaran? What happens to the Sasikala family, Marya? Will they give up without a fight? So far, just 4 MLAs on their side, but who knows how this turns out. And secondly, will this united AIADMK be part of the NDA?
Well,
that's
that
what
is,
you're picking
yes,
up.
that second, there is a huge possibility of the second one, that they could very well be part of the NDA, because as far as the BJP's own strategy in South is concerned, as they look forward to expand their southern footprints, they are looking at a united AIADMK to join the NDA.
Okay. We'll track that story at 7:30. In fact, we'll be going live to that press conference as and when it happens. But for the moment, we are shifting focus to the most enduring mystery of modern India.
पहला भारत का पहला स्वाधीन सरकार था प्रोविजनल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ आजाद हिंद, और उनका प्रधानमंत्री था नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस।
In June this year, in an RTI response, the NDA government waded into the most enduring mystery of modern India. The government, this is the Modi government, very clearly said that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose died in a plane crash in Taiwan on the 18th of August 1945, and he did not survive the crash as claimed by some members of his family.
And today, on the 72nd anniversary of this mysterious disappearance, there is an attempt to rewrite history. The question we are asking is, did Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose not get his due in the freedom struggle? Was he the first Prime Minister of India as he unfurled the national flag in 1943, much before Pandit Nehru did in 1947? Take a look.
Who's the first Prime Minister of India? The answer may not quite be blowing in the wind if one goes by the claims of the Open Platform for Netaji. The organization, which has been leading a sustained campaign for years to unearth the mystery behind the freedom fighter's disappearance, anointed the freedom fighter as the first Prime Minister of India on Friday. The basis of this outlandish claim is that on the 30th of October 1943, Netaji had hoisted the tricolour on Andaman and Nicobar Islands as Prime Minister of the United Free Government of India, and Netaji's government was recognized by 11 nations, according to a section of his family members, an open platform for Netaji. Where is Netaji? A favourite dinner table conversation for millions of die-hard Bengalis across the globe. Now, this debate was revived on Friday on the 72nd anniversary of his mysterious disappearance. Chandra Bose, the grandnephew of Netaji and a BJP leader from West Bengal, is the face of the newfound movement to restore the legacy of Netaji and rewrite history books with compelling earlier unknown facts. Open Platform for Netaji has come up with a charter of demands in support of its claim.
पहला भारत का पहला स्वाधीन सरकार था प्रोविजनल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ आजाद हिंद, अर्ज़े हुकूमत आजाद हिंद, ये पहला सरकार था, और उनका प्रधानमंत्री था नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस। पंडित नेहरू सेकंड प्राइम मिनिस्टर था भारत के। ये सच्चाई केंद्रीय सरकार की कर्तव्य है देश के सामने पेश करें।
Some of those demands. The centre changed its official position regarding Netaji's fate from dead in the air crash on August 18, 1945 to uncertain. The centre must form a special investigation team to study the classified KGB files on Netaji in Moscow and those with the Japanese government in Tokyo. The matter should be discussed when the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe visits Delhi next month. The centre must rectify the distorted history of India's freedom struggle before the Modi government's term expires in May 2019. History books should be rewritten to ensure Netaji's contribution to India's freedom struggle, declare Netaji the first Prime Minister of India as he had established the first United Free Government of India on the 21st of October in 1943. It also goes on to say that Netaji's government was recognized by 11 countries and he hoisted the tricolour on Andaman Nicobar Islands as Prime Minister of the United Free Government. Open Platform for Netaji aims to corner both the Bengal government and the centre, who have been keen to appropriate the freedom fighter's legacy as a Bengali hero and a patriot. In September 2015, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee released 64 secret files on Netaji, which was lying with the state government. Prime Minister Narendra Modi followed suit and announced declassification of the files on his birth anniversary on the 23rd of January last year. Now the ball is in the centre's court to pay heed to the open platform of Netaji's demands. Will Netaji be the first Prime Minister of India? And did India gain freedom on the 30th of October 1943 and not 15th of August 1947?
Those are claims being made by Open Forum, that is being led by Chandra Bose. He is the grandnephew of Netaji, also the Vice President of the Bengal BJP, joining us this evening on Epicenter. Mr. Bose, thank you very much for being on the show. On what basis do you say that Netaji and not Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India? Because so far what we have learnt in our history books has been completely different.
Well, it's a historical fact, because the provisional government of United Free India was established on 21st of October 1943, and Subhash Chandra Bose was the Prime Minister and Minister of War. Now, 11 nations had accepted and acknowledged the existence of provisional government of Azad Hind, and it is the provisional government of Azad Hind which fought the final war for India's independence. Azad Hind Fauj, as you know, fought the battle on the Imphal frontier and captured Moirang. You know, Moirang was captured on the 14th of April 1944, and for the first time on Indian soil, the Indian tricolour was hoisted by none other than a soldier of the Indian National Army of the Azad Hind Fauj, Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik. And Moirang was under the occupation of the Azad Hind government for a period of over 3 months. Yes, Britain recaptured Moirang. I would like to state something here, that the erstwhile the Congress leaders of that era did not support the efforts of the provisional government of Azad Hind establishing government at Moirang. Now the other issue is, on December 30th, 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose, as the Prime Minister, as the first Prime Minister of India, hoisted the national flag at Shahid and Swaraj Islands, that is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And Andaman and Nicobar Islands was in the occupation of the first free government of India. Now these are facts of history.
Mr. Bose, our history books have taught us that 15th August 1947 is when India got its independence, and that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India. So when you say that the first tricolour was unfurled on December 30th, 1943 and it was done by Subhash Chandra Bose, then are you saying that history was deliberately distorted to sideline Netaji?
See, we don't want to disrespect anyone. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was certainly the second Prime Minister of India, and 15th of August 1947 was the second Independence Day of India. But there is a difference. It was not Independence Day of United India. The provisional government of Azad Hind was a government of United India, Akhand Bharat. But India was divided. And do you know, we did not get Purna Swaraj. We did not get complete independence. That was the motto of Mahatma Gandhi. That was the motto of Chittaranjan Das. We fought for complete independence. But due to Mr. Nehru and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, we divided the nation because they wanted to become the Prime Minister. And it was dominion status. Why did we accept dominion status from Great Britain? We wanted Purna Swaraj. We wanted complete independence. Complete independence would have come if Subhash Chandra Bose would have come to India and continued as the first Prime Minister of India. But that is unfortunate, because after the 18th of August 1945, we don't know what happened to the liberator of India. We don't know what happened to the first Prime Minister of India. So it is our demand that the NDA government, the Congress government, has suppressed and distorted history. But the NDA government need not do that. The NDA government is free to write the correct history of India's independence. And that was the Azad Hind Fauj government under the leadership of the first Prime Minister, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, which fought the final war for independence.
So, Mr. Bose, is it really your argument that not Mahatma Gandhi's call to non-violence, but Netaji's call to violence that won us our independence?
Absolutely. Let me correct you. It is not violence. It was an armed struggle which finally made Britain relinquish India. It is absolutely correct, because as I have said, this has been stated, it is documented that Clement Attlee has stated this, Lord Mountbatten has stated this, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has stated it, and presently a defense analyst, Major General G.D. Bakshi, who comes on your television very frequently, Major General G.D. Bakshi has stated it. And not only that, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, who is a very important person in the government today, he has stated it. I have got evidence, I have got a video recording of Ajit Doval a few years back, where he clearly states that it is nothing of these non-violent movement. It is nothing about the Congress movement. It is only because of Subhash Chandra Bose and the Azad Hind Fauj that India attained freedom. We expect Narendra Modi ji to rectify this history and place it before the nation.
All right, Chandra Bose there. Thank you so much for joining us. And if indeed the first national flag was unfurled in 1943 in Andaman and Nicobar Islands as Prime Minister of the United Free Government of India, that was done by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, then shouldn't he be seen as the first Prime Minister of India? Joining us on this debate, Anuj Dhar is the historian, Ranjan Bhattacharya is a political analyst and TMC sympathizer. Both of them are in our studio. GVL Narasimha Rao is the spokesperson of the BJP. Pawan Khera is the spokesperson of the Congress. GVL, I'm coming to you. Your government in June, in an RTI response, has made its stand known that Netaji died in a plane crash on 18th August 1945. You have declassified the secret documents last year. Then are you open to this idea of rectifying what's being called a distorted history of India's freedom struggle?
I think there have been several distortions of the Indian history. I think one doesn't need really too much of an investigation, too much of a reading to understand this. I concur with most of the statements that Mr. Bose had made on your channel just a while ago. I think we became independent in 47 primarily because of the efforts of INA and the mutiny that happened in 1946 February, which the British were not able to fight because after the World War II, the British had completely, although they won the war, the Britain had really suffered a huge cost.
GVL, can I ask you two straight
their
questions?
Their economy was in great trouble.
GVL, can I?
Yeah, you can ask me.
Two straight questions. Does the BJP believe that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the first Prime Minister of this country?
He was, you see, it's a question of interpretation. But
no, what is the BJP's interpretation, GVL?
No, I think it's not for me. I don't have to give a statement on this. But he was sworn in. He was the Prime Minister. He operated from the Andaman and Nicobar. But Britain had not left India until 47.
No, the BJP will have to have a stand, right? The BJP will have to have a stand. If you're saying that you agree with most of what Chandra Bose is saying, who by the way is the Vice President of the BJP in West Bengal, then you will have to have a stand. It can either be two things, whether the BJP thinks that...
I think you cannot...
GVL, just a minute.
No, I think
it can either be two things.
Talk about substantive points.
This is a substantive point.
I think let's not waste time.
I'm not wasting time, GVL.
No, you don't have much time.
I'm asking you a simple question.
No, I will not answer. Please let me make some important statements. I will answer
asking you a simple question, you're dodging the question. Does the BJP believe that Netaji was the first Prime Minister of this country? That's all I'm asking you. A yes or a no would be a good answer to give at this point, if you so wish.
Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was the principal force behind India's independence even in 1947. But for Netaji, but for INA, but for their trials in 1946 January, but for the INA mutiny, the Royal Indian Navy,
that question.
But for that mutiny, Indian independence would not have happened in 1947.
You have still not answered the question.
To somehow take that away.
No, you have still not answered the question that I've asked you. GVL, let's get in the...
I think
that's a question of interpretation. Fair enough.
That's a technical.
No, it's not technical. Either the BJP says he was the first Prime Minister or the BJP says he wasn't the first Prime Minister. I don't see what the technical issue here is.
Do you want me to say anything more than this?
Okay, GVL, I get your point.
I get your point. India's independence.
I get your point. Thank you very much. I get your point. You're not answering my question. Pawan Khera, the allegation against you is very direct. The allegation against your party, I beg your pardon, is very direct. You deliberately distorted history to sideline Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's contribution to the freedom struggle.
I actually spied on him for
part
decades.
of the history. Let him come. I don't think he wants to let me speak. I let him speak. Maybe he wants it.
No, he doesn't want to.
Maybe
Pawan
he's
Khera,
the anchor. I don't know.
Please go on, Pawan Khera. Let's not waste time. Please go ahead.
Shreya, it's part of the history that there were 4 brigades of the INA. Jawahar Brigade, Gandhi Brigade, Azad Brigade and Subhash Brigade. I don't see a Savarkar Brigade unfortunately there. Let the BJP and their forefathers, ideological forefathers, try and divide the legacy of independence. Let Mr. Chandra Bose become a victim of these ploys of the BJP. I am not walking into this. I don't want to comment. I don't want to divide our shared legacy. It's each one of us. It's the Indians, barring the RSS of course, because Netaji was centre-left. When will GVL understand? Had nothing to do with the RSS and its ideology. In fact, he hated them from the bottom of his heart.
No, but
you can see it from his names of this brigade.
Pawan, will you acknowledge that the first tricolour was hoisted on Andaman and Nicobar Islands and it was done by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and it was done in 1943?
Absolutely. Why should I deny that? But the British left in 1947, India gained its independence in 1947 and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister of free, independent India. I mean, these are things that I never imagined that we will be discussing this part of history. My father is alive who was there, who saw this, my mother saw this. I'm sure your grandparents would have seen this. We can't change this aspect of history for God's sake. Our textbooks say that Maharana Pratap had won the Haldi Ghati. Fair enough, we'll accept that. They say Gandhi was not assassinated. The Madhya Pradesh textbooks yesterday released, Sanskrit textbook, Gandhi was not even murdered. So these are strange times we are living in. I accept the strangeness of these times with a smile and graciousness.
Let's see whether what Ranjan Bhattacharya is saying. He's a political analyst, also a TMC sympathizer. Mr. Bhattacharya, where does the TMC stand on this whole issue? I mean, of course, there's this one big mystery of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's disappearance. Did he die in the air crash? Did he not die in the air crash? I'm going to ask Anuj Dhar that question. But first, the TMC's point of view as far as Netaji being the first Prime Minister of this country is concerned.
As Trinamool Congress, I must bring to your notice that the leader of the Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee, both inside the parliament and outside, time and again for past 10 years, she has brought it in the notice of the people that the government of Delhi, government in centre, has to make their stand very clear.
You make your stand, sir.
One minute, I am coming to that. You know, there is a lot of controversy and confusion on this issue, whether Netaji was dead in air crash or there is uncertainty. There nobody knows what has happened. To actually resolve this issue,
then in that case,
what is required?
Then in that case, Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya, then in that case, do you think, sir, then what Mr. Chandra Bose is saying, that there is need to clear the air and that he should be declared as the first Prime Minister, as somebody who is a Bengali, because this is a very important topic that is discussed again and again, favorite pastime also. As a TMC sympathizer, do you think that there is a need for the government to perhaps probe this, because they are also demanding a special investigations?
Absolutely. I strongly believe it is not because I am a Bengali or Netaji Subhash Bose was a Bengali. It was when Netaji Subhash Bose was not a Bengali leader at all. He was the leader of the entire country.
Absolutely.
And
he was a national leader.
Yes.
He was a national leader.
He fought for, believe me or not, I have been to many parts of my country and I have seen in the interior villages, Netaji Subhash Bose's photo
So did the Congress distort history? Is your stand?
He was treated as God. Now what I am trying to tell you.
So is your stand that the Congress distorted history?
Well, you know, I can't go to a dispute of such a issue where there is a lot of controversies on that.
You have still not told us what the TMC believes.
But certainly I like to tell what Netaji Subhash Bose in freedom struggle has contributed for this country.
So does he know the contributions? We've all studied history books. My question to you is simple. What does the TMC believe? Does the TMC believe that he was the first Prime Minister of this country? Yes or no?
My leader has time and again, yes, Netaji Subhash Bose did not get the place in the history of Indian
getting his
struggle.
due, does it mean that he was the first Prime Minister? That because the unfurling of the national flag happened in 1943, so he should be seen as the first Prime Minister and not Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru.
Well, this is an issue again. I am telling you that can be decided not by any political party leader but by the country and the government. It is the question of the history of the country. I don't want to make a comment where it will be further a confusion.
Okay, one big confusion, and it's not a confusion, it's a mystery, and you know, it depends on who you are listening to. Do you ever think this disappearance of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose post the air crash in Taiwan will ever get solved? Where does that stand now? There are two such distinct points of view and no one wants to budge from there. Do you really need an SIT after 72 years to figure out, yes, India's most enduring mystery?
Thank you for having me here. I think we don't need any of this SIT, etc., because you know it's very fair and simple. After the news of Subhash Bose's death came, the British looked into the whole matter. An IB team was set up. There were a lot of IB men who were set after Subhash Bose's trail. So this was under the auspice of the combined section in the military headquarters. They figured out, and the reports are available, that there was no direct evidence of this man's death. Apparently, he was Russia bound. Japanese destroyed all the records of his movement, and there was never any direct evidence. The dead body was not found. There was no picture of dead body. So the assumption, the deduction which they made, the last report is probably 7-8 months after the plane crash. They say that he is not clear. He's probably not dead. In fact, they were receiving information from the Russian side. He was probably alive. He was in Russia. So this was the deduction made by the British Indian government, and that's why the British Indian side never confirmed that Subhash Bose had died. They dodged this question. What really happened, what actually opened up this case was in 1997 when the Government of India's view became known. PIL was filed in Calcutta High Court because the then Minister of Defence wanted to bring so-called ashes of Subhash Bose from Japan to India.
Correct.
So the PIL, you know, mentioned, look, without ascertaining, without finding out whose ashes these are, you cannot bring the ashes back to India. So first find out who's asked these ashes. And then at that point of time, the government lawyer appearing before the High Court submitted that there have been, you know, statements about Subhash Bose's death, but the government is in a bind because these are very conflicting. There are so many, you know, problems. So the court asked the government to set up a commission. He said, if you are not sure about his death and you see there's a lot of, you know, problems in the whole plane crash story, set up a commission. So very eminent judge, very upright, honest man, Justice Manoj Kumar Mukherjee, he was the chairman of the commission of inquiry. For 5 years he studied the whole thing. He studied everything under the sun, and he gave verdict that Subhash Bose did not die. There was no plane crash. He was actually Russia bound. Probably went to Russia. I have not been able to access the Russian intelligence files because the government is not interested, and he blamed the government of India for a cover-up. And unfortunately, by the time the commission report came out, the Congress party was back in power, and it's known to every child in the country that the
enough
Congress party
evidence to show that he didn't die in the plane crash, but the government of India, both governments of India, not just under the UPA but the NDA rule also say that
NDA has a different thing. The BJP
has the RTI reply is very clear.
No, they clarified. The next day, I mean, I'm not taking BJP side. BJP has equally to blame. In fact, the blame will lie on the BJP now, not the Congress. But the point is the BJP, what they're saying, it is the previous government had said so.
Okay.
So the very next day they issued a clarification. So it's not like that. And in fact, now they have, now one thing important, they have released 305 files. These are basically PMO, MHA files.
Correct.
Not a single IB file. So the whole declassification hasn't happened.
Has not happened. That's an eyewash. Anuj, that's a good point to make. I'm afraid we are completely running out of time. Thank you very much, Anuj Dhar, for joining us here on the show. Ranjan Bhattacharya joining us in the studio. Thank you very much. GVL Narasimha Rao, spokesperson of the BJP. Pawan Khera, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Thanks to all four of you gentlemen for being here on Epicentre.
And before we head into a short break, let's take a look at the story of the 1945 plane crash in which Netaji allegedly died. A theory which Netaji's family totally rejects.
On 15th August 1945, Emperor Hirohito announces the surrender of Imperial Japan on national radio. World War II ends. The very next day, Subhash Chandra Bose leaves the INA headquarters in Singapore with select comrades. Bose is leader of the Indian National Army and head of the provisional government of Azad Hind. The future of his operations, spread across Japanese-controlled Southeast Asia, is at stake. A Japanese plane takes off. Netaji Bose is on board. With him is Lieutenant General Tsunemasa Shedai. Fluent in Russian, he is Vice Chief of Japan's Kwantung Army. They are headed to Manchuria, soon to be under Soviet control. A day later, after an unscheduled night halt, the plane crashed in Taipei. Both men are killed. This is what the world was officially told. But the plane crash story is still hotly debated. Indo-French historian J.P.B. Moray travels to Saigon, today known as Ho Chi Minh City, to investigate the truth. His Tamil grandfather, Leon Prochandi, was based in Saigon. He was closely associated with Netaji Bose.
Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose spent the night of 17th August 1945 in my grandfather's residence in Saigon. On August 18th, he was still in Saigon. My mother was an eyewitness to this event, but she doesn't know where Netaji went after 18th August 1945.
So, if Bose is still in Saigon on August 18th, 1945, how could he have died in a plane crash in faraway Taipei?
Welcome back. You're watching Epicentre. Just take a look at these pictures that came in from the national capital. A woman staff member being molested at the Pride Plaza by the hotel's security manager. The police, after a couple of hours, finally arrested the accused. This after the hotel itself had let him off, Marya, with just a suspension.
And after filing a complaint with the HR department, instead of being promised an inquiry, the victim was ruthlessly sacked. She had also been told by the HR that the accused would only be let off with a mere warning. The CCTV footage that you can see on your television screens clearly shows a security manager of a 5-star hotel in Delhi allegedly molesting a woman staff member. We are slipping into a short break with those visuals. Much more when we return. The Reserve Bank of India is all set to issue ₹50 denomination banknotes in the Mahatma Gandhi new series, which will bear the signature of the central bank governor Urjit Patel.
Just take a look. These are the notes that are on your screen. This is what the 50 rupee note will look like. The new denomination banknote has a motif of Hampi with the chariot on the reverse, depicting the country's cultural heritage. Could soon be in your pockets. By when is something we still don't know. With that, we'll end the show. For this week, we'll see you once again next week, starting Monday. Arunday Mukherjee joining you at the top of 8 with all the headlines. Thanks for watching. Good night.